Hello, basketball people, we have news. Let's go to more news about the Golden State Warriors. I ask you to give a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, as I am a Warriors fan. Joel Embiid is an NBA star who spent a significant amount of time injured, resulting in a dip in his game. If he returns to his previous performance, he'll be a fantastic signing to help the Warriors. Joel Embiid is strong, a great rim protector, and an elite defender. The Golden State Warriors find themselves in a difficult position at this stage in the offseason. Over a month has passed since free agency opened, and yet, the Warriors haven't been able to complete any signings. This can be attributed to their ongoing negotiations with their young star, Jonathan Kuminga. Current breakdowns in communication have resulted in significant delays, which have effectively prevented the Dubs from adding key free agents. Although Golden State remains inclined towards retaining the 22-year-old, there are some inherent problems associated with this, including his desire to leave the team. To address this, Sports Illustrated's Dave Holcomb presented an intriguing yet controversial trade idea. Let's take a look at the trade proposal. Golden State Warriors receive Joel Embiid. Philadelphia 76ers receive Jonathan Kuminga, Tracy Jackson-Davis, Buddy Hield, 2030 first-round pick. The suggestion for the Warriors to acquire Joel Embiid from the Philadelphia 76ers is certainly shocking. In a way, the deal may also have some merit. When examining Golden State's roster, its lack of depth in its big man rotation stands out. Although Draymond Green has proven himself to be a serviceable small ball center, the team's decision to pivot from this strategy could see him take on a more traditional role as a forward. At the current juncture, the Dubs feature two centers, Quinton Post and Tracy Jackson-Davis. While they have potential, the two are relatively inexperienced, which, considering the team's championship outlook, may not work in their favor. In this regard, acquiring a player like Joel Embiid could address a lot of problems. When healthy, Embiid is one of the best big men in the NBA. As the undisputed star of the 76ers, the center has showcased his ability to carry an offense on his own. At the peak of his powers, Embiid is an MVP-caliber player. With a versatile offensive game and solid rim protection ability, he could be the ideal big man for this Warriors team, given their title dreams. The challenge, however, lies in his injury history. As one of the most injury-prone players in the game, taking a chance on the 76ers superstar could be a risk. Last season, the 31-year-old only appeared in 19 games for Philadelphia. While he was immensely productive in this span, averaging 23.8 points, 8.2 rebounds, and 4.5 assists per game, he was sidelined with a recurring knee injury, forcing him to get surgery again. In this regard, the Warriors may be gambling on his availability and status once he recovers and returns to the floor. Warriors missed out on golden opportunity because of stubborn Moses Moody's stance. This could have made a huge difference. As the Golden State Warriors have looked to build out their roster around their veteran trio this offseason, it has been stated that the team is seeking out dependable presences who can be relied upon by head coach Steve Kerr from day one in the rotation. Yet, with veteran free agent Amir Coffey signing with the Milwaukee Bucks, the team has now missed out on a golden opportunity to move youngster Moses Moody, perhaps securing a substantial return in a Jonathan Kuminga trade in the process. Coffey, 28, would have been a perfect player to incorporate into the Warriors' play style, and, although there was never concretely reported interest on the organization's end in signing Coffey, he could have been the ideal solution to a lingering problem. Warriors made a dual mistake in not pursuing Amir Coffey. Coffey, after 6 seasons with the Los Angeles Clippers, hit unrestricted free agency this offseason with the expectation that he would be available on a veteran minimum contract. Last season, through 72 games, Coffey averaged 9.7 points, 2.2 rebounds, and 1.1 assists while shooting 40.9% from three-point range. While Coffey was certainly a valuable player for the Clippers, their financial commitments to players such as Kawhi Leonard, James Harden and, now, Bradley Beal, made it unlikely that they would be bringing Coffey back this offseason. In fairness, Coffey's fit in the Warriors' rotation would not have made sense with Moody still on the roster. Yet, it is the team's unwillingness to trade Moody that makes this missed opportunity all the more frustrating. As Golden State has sought out potential sign-and-trade opportunities for restricted free agent Jonathan Kuminga this offseason, their stated unwillingness to include either Moody or Buddy Hield in a deal has prevented them from being capable of matching the salary it would take to bring back a difference-making piece in such a trade. While it is unclear to what extent the Chicago Bulls were willing to engage in talks concerning a Kuminga for Josh Giddey swap, one of those two players would absolutely have been necessary to include in order to get a deal done. Therefore, through their unwillingness to trade Moody, the organization has likely missed out on both a difference-making player acquired through a sign-and-trade as well as a potentially highly valuable free agent on a cheap contract. While Moody took a large step forward for the Warriors last season, there are still questions regarding the consistency of his perimeter shot, and it remains to be seen whether the organization's faith in the young wing will pay off. Warriors' free agency plans could be in jeopardy. The Jonathan Kuminga restricted free agency saga could impact the other moves the Warriors are trying to make. The Golden State Warriors continue to sit and wait for the Jonathan Kuminga situation to resolve itself. They've submitted a few different offers, most recently reported to be for 2 years, $45 million with a team option on the second year. He's shown no interest in signing that. Until the Warriors figure out how to either bring Kuminga in long-term, find a sign-and-trade, or he accepts his qualifying offer, they're not going to be able to go through the rest of their free agency plans. That's why they've yet to sign anyone. ESPN's Anthony Slater provided the latest on what's happening with the Warriors and the players they want to sign on NBA Today. It's the same names we've all been talking about for 6 weeks now. Al Horford, he's clearly ticketed to be their starting center if that gets wrapped up. DeAnthony Melton is a name they like. Seth Curry. Their second-round pick, Will Richard, is a guy expected to potentially be on their roster. Gary Payton too. Slater mentioned they're fine waiting for now, as they understand the complexities of the situation, but they may not be fine waiting forever. August is a lot easier for people to just be like, okay, we'll get to you when we get to you. September starts to get a little more uncomfortable in this entire situation. And that's where, I don't know if there will be movement or a little bit more angst in the Warriors or Kuminga's side, but September is where this could get a little dicey. The Warriors only have 9 players on the roster currently, so they just need to fill out the team at some point. Kuminga's contract will impact how much they can spend, but they'd like to at least go into training camp with a nearly full team. Hildy Kuminga, a definer. Where is Jonathan Kuminga headed to with the Warriors? If Kuminga doesn't want to be with the Warriors, as every indication seems to be, he may just have to accept his qualifying offer, which Slater says Kuminga is fine with. That's the worst-case scenario for Golden State. If they can't come to an agreement on a contract extension before October 1st, the deadline for qualifying offers, though it can be extended, they would be better off pulling off a sign-and-trade. The qualifying offer would allow Kuminga to enter unrestricted free agency next offseason, but it would also give him a no-trade clause for next season, meaning he'd be able to completely control his destiny. There is expected to be a lot more spending room next season from every team, so he could walk in free agency for free, and the Warriors get nothing in return. They need to figure this out soon. Stephen Curry unquestionably needs one more thing to take the crown from LeBron. This could put him over the top. As the Golden State Warriors seek out another unlikely run at a championship, the team will yet again need to rely heavily on their superstar Stephen Curry in order to give them any shot at a deep playoff run. Yet, as Curry's career likely comes to a close in the near future, a 5th championship with the same franchise could put him in even loftier historical company, and, according to Vincent Goodwill of Yahoo Sports, it could even mean that we would be forced to have an uncomfortable conversation regarding his stance relative to all-time great LeBron James. Throughout their careers, Curry and James have battled relentlessly, with the Warriors and the Cleveland Cavaliers facing off in the NBA Finals 4 years in a row from 2015 to 2018. Yet, now, as both near the twilight of their storied tenures in the NBA, there is only one thing left to compete for: one final ring. One more ring for Curry could force an uncomfortable LeBron James conversation. On the recent episode of Good Word with Goodwill and guest Dan Titus discussed the Curry-LeBron rivalry as one of the defining dynamics of our generation, with Goodwill saying that 5 championships means something. In championships, 5 puts you with Tim Duncan. It puts you with Kobe Bryant. It puts you with Magic Johnson. If you get a 5th ring on LeBron's watch, we'd be having some conversations. Over the past decade and a half, LeBron and Curry have routinely vied for the title of best player in the league, with James having won 4 separate titles as a member of the Cavaliers, the Miami Heat and the Los Angeles Lakers. Curry, meanwhile, won 3 championships during Golden State's dominant run in the late 2010s and capped it off with one more long-shot run in 2022, defeating the Boston Celtics in 6 games. Clearly, as far historical greatness goes, James is in a different echelon than Curry. The NBA's all-time leading scorer, James' pure longevity and offensive dominance sets a bar that Curry, with an unprecedented historical skill set, could not match. Yet, the debate over who has defined this era of basketball is a different one entirely. The Warriors have an exceedingly tough task ahead of them this season in attempting to push through an absolutely loaded Western Conference. With juggernauts such as the Oklahoma City Thunder standing in the way of another ring, a championship for Golden State in 2025-26 would necessarily signify one of the most unlikely runs in NBA history. Meanwhile, James and the Lakers will be attempting the same feat, albeit with a 26-year-old superstar in the wings in Luka Doncic. Therefore, if Curry is able to pull off one more championship with a team that still entirely revolves around him, surpassing LeBron on the all-time leaderboard, this era could become known to be defined as the Curry and LeBron era. Stephen Curry shuts down concerns about Warriors' age in pursuit of NBA title. The Golden State Warriors are hoping to contend for a title next season, but they'll be facing an uphill battle. Last season, the Warriors' hopes of winning a title came crashing down in the postseason. After Jimmy Butler was banged up in the first round against the Houston Rockets, Stephen Curry suffered a season-ending injury just a few minutes into the second round. Sky, 825. With so many questions about the team's health and age going into another title-contending year, Curry recently tried to combat some of those narratives in an interview with ABC 7 News Bay Area. "I think what we did last year, the last third of the season after the trade deadline when we were top 3 in the league in offense, defense, all the metrics that show we were a really good team," Curry said. "Obviously, we have to stay healthy, get through the regular season at a high level. But I like the identity that we have and the foundation of knowing how to play together toward the end of last season that we can hopefully translate into this year." While the concerns about the aging core of the Warriors are certainly warranted, those concerns should be almost entirely about health. Despite the Big Three all being well into their 30s, their play hasn't had any significant drop-offs. Simply staying on the court should be the key to Golden State's hopes of making it back to the contender table next season. While that's easier said than done, there is absolutely reason for optimism in the Bay Area for 2025-26.